can't stay.
One question I hear a lot: how do you launch a product or service that needs users for anybody to actually use it? Like Facebook. You can't use Facebook unless there are people for you to connect with. Or something like Tinder. You can't use Tinder unless there are people for you to swipe right or left on. Or a double-sided marketplace like Uber, where you can't use Uber unless there are drivers for you to connect with. This is a common dilemma. It's even the one I faced on my last startup, Reconnect. If you haven't already seen my other videos, the idea of Reconnect was to connect other young entrepreneurs in their areas with each other. Especially for us too, because Reconnect was location-based. You couldn't really use it unless there were other people in your area to connect with. So how do you get the first people to try or use your product or service when there's nobody on there in the first place? So there are a few things that you can do, okay? The thing I'm certain that would have made Reconnect succeed and not fail was if we were to blow up the app within a concentrated group of people at the same time. If you have a chicken and egg type situation with your product or service, you are going to need to get it to a very niche group of people that are interacting with each other on a day-to-day basis, because you're going to need the word of mouth that's going to spread within this niche, within this group, to actually create a community from the start. Young creatives and entrepreneurs was pretty broad. I think that was another reason we weren't really clear on who we were targeting Reconnect for. So the first thing is you have to be very clear who your niche is when you're just starting off, so that you can target them aggressively wherever they are. For example, when Tinder started, they went to a bunch of fraternities and sororities around the same place, and they would try and get as many people on one side and sell them the dream that, hey, if you use Tinder, you'd be able to connect with all of the best looking people in the fraternities, or for the fraternities, all of the best looking people in the sororities. Through that, because they were targeting a specific community and a specific audience, word of mouth spread really fast for Tinder. For Facebook didn't just launch. If you're not aware, Facebook started just on Harvard, for Harvard college students, no one else. So the word of mouth began to spread within the Harvard undergraduate community, and only till it really started succeeding at Harvard did Mark Zuckerberg decide to bring Facebook to other universities around the country. And still, it was only targeted towards college students. You have to understand that you have to work really hard to capture a tribe or a group of people in the right way so that you can branch off to other segments. I don't know what ideas you're having about a product or a service, but you need to tap into this small group of people in order to really succeed if it requires users to already exist on the app. Because when you get a lot of people on your app or product or service at the same time, and that's the key, you don't get a few people who might trickle out at the end of the funnel. You get a lot of people blasted on at the same time. Especially if your startup doesn't work out after that, that is even the more proof that you're not really fulfilling a need or solving a problem in the way that you thought you were. Maybe your product's location-based, maybe it's not. If it's not location-based and you're promoting whatever you're trying to create online, you have to make sure that you're tapping into a community online. Types of people online that are actually messaging each other or interacting with each other on a day-to-day basis. And especially if your product is location-based, you're going to have to go out to where your target user is, whether that's a university or a high school or a sports gym or a nightclub. I don't know. You have to find out where there is some centralized location with a centralized group of people. This is the most important thing, because you're going to need the virality that will come with hyper word of mouth. Word of mouth growth is the best kind of growth you can have in a startup. When your product is so remarkable in its literal sense that it's worth remarking about, that people have such a good experience with what you've created for them, that it solved their problem so well or fulfilled their needs so well that they just have to tell other people. And that's about it. But let me go over everything one more time. So If you have a product or a service or an app or whatever that needs users in order for anybody to actually make it work, the first thing you need to do is get really clear about who your user is. Who are you targeting? And then once that's clear and defined, and once the problem that you're solving for them is clear and defined, you have to go and find them and find tight-knit group of people that will spread your product, the word about your product within their group, and it's something that's so relatable within them. But once you've done that, once you've created enough value for that type of person, you're already off on the right foot. That's the starting growth for a potentially really successful startup. I hope you guys do some crazy amazing things. Talk to you next time. I can't stay.